Testing 1, 2, 3. All right, here we go. Here we are. It is good to be back, folks. Let me tell you what. Here we go. So, let me get over on. Open up Twitch. All right. Here we go. I gotta get my. I had a little bit of a issue with my computer last night. Those of you who were watching the live stream with Wargamer Girl over on YouTube probably noticed the little glitch I had at the beginning. My computer decided to not compute. So, anyhow, here we go. Let me change the little number here. Not number. Title. I need to change the title here on Twitch. It never sticks. Edit stream info. It is the title. All right. All right, there we go. I wonder. I wonder if I can make this camera bigger. Let's see. Let's see. Now it says aspect ratio 16:9, so that's interesting. Alright, well, there you have it. So, alright, well, let's see. Got Twitch over here. So, as you may know, last week I went to Adepticon, and it is now in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. It's much bigger, much bigger area, space than we had there in Schaumburg, Illinois. It is definitely a place that could handle more growth. So, I mean, there's not really much to say about it that hasn't been said already. If you're interested in the whole thing about Adepticon, there's plenty of channels that talk about the change in venue from a few months ago. They were talking about it. But it was definitely a necessary change in venue. It was the old venue, you know, the old adage talk about rubbing elbows with somebody. Well, it really was kind of true. We had 8,600, probably a little over, probably close to 9,000 some odd, close to 10 in the old place. But there were 8,000 badges last year in the Schaumburg facility. But there's also a lot that come in that aren't badged. So it was crowded. It really was crowded. It was really getting too small for our needs as vendors and players, attendees, and the like. So they made the choice to move it to Milwaukee, to the site of the old Mecca building, which is now known as the Baird Center, Baird. Probably has something to do with Baird Medical, I would guess. Although I don't know for sure. However, the Milwaukee Tools offices are just down the street from there, which if I had had the time, I would have liked to have gone and visited the Milwaukee Tools, because I use Milwaukee Tools quite regularly. In fact, I even use markers by Milwaukee. That's a little faded, but that's one of their better products, I think, in my opinion. In one man's opinion. So, anyhow, I'm not going to gild the lily too much more. Let's get right on to it. So my first stop was after we got set up, got the Sea Dog Game Studios booth set up, I went over and I checked out the Mantic booth, which they were... Okay, so Sea Dog Game Studios was between... So, say Sea Dog is here. Mini Wargaming was right across the aisle. Mantic was the next one down. And Caddy Corner and across the aisle was the Army Painter. And then Warlord Games was right down here. And then between Warlord Games and Mini Wargaming was Slow Death Games. So we had good neighbors all around. Oh, and right behind us was One Page Rules. And there were so many people that I didn't get to talk to. I talked to and I wanted to interview them, but I just didn't get the opportunity to. And there were a couple times the opportunity presented itself, but sometimes I'm a little shy. Sometimes I think, well, maybe not now is the right time, even though it is kind of obviously the right time. But, feel like you got someplace to be and they've got someplace to be. But it is odd sometimes. I mean, making that call. Do I talk to this person now? Do I talk to them later? Is later going to happen? You never know. So anyhow, I stopped by the Mantic Kings of War, and I picked up the Forces of Nature Ambush Starter Set. I've got the command group for this already, so I wanted to complete this army with the command group and the Kings of War Ambush Starter Set. So it's got the fishy people and the lizardy people. So that's the Forces of Nature Ambush Starter Set. So I picked that up. Of course, now I got to ask old Ronnie Renton about their new project, which I will be putting a little video out featuring that in the next week or so. So that's pretty cool. And of course, I didn't spend a whole lot on miniatures overall. Again, Adepticon is a time that I generally push more for supplies. So I stopped by Huge Miniatures and picked up a Tufts and Flowers mix, and it's blue and purple flowers in that. I've used their Tufts before right here on my streams. They've really got some of the nicest Tufts out there. So that is there. And the great thing about them is Huge Miniatures is an Ohio company. So I like to support my Ohio, my local people. So they're up in Akron, so they're not like local to me, but they are regional. So try to support them. So blue flowers. So I got a bunch of blue flowers. So that's pretty cool. I like their tufts a little bit better than the Army Painter tufts. The Army Painter tufts, there's nothing wrong with them, but the flowers from Huge Miniatures are really the way to go. I've got red and yellow flowers, I know, up here in my basing bits. So I got some things to give some nice contrast between the yellows and the reds. Get some purples and some blues. So I picked those up. There's another one. Teal flowers. So that's pretty cool. Cool, haha, teal is a cool color. I stopped by Dad's Armies and visited with John and Patty for a minute, and I found a vintage Lizardman Saurus command group, which I've got Lizardman Saurus in my fantasy shelves over here. I've got a small army to finish up with them, so I wanted to a small army to finish up a small army. And then this is the Saurus Temple Command. So those are pretty cool. There were a few other things that I got. So I picked up some more paints. Not too many paints, because I've got quite a few paints and I'm trying to really focus on the Monument Hobbies paints right now. But Huge Miniatures had some neat colors. So kind of a very pale pink. Eraser Pink by Huge Miniatures. So I'm looking forward to using that one. That's it's got a little more warmth to it. So here is Monument Hobbies Pale Pink. But Monument is a little bit cooler than the Eraser Pink from Huge Miniatures. So I picked up the Huge Miniatures pink. It was a very interesting pink, I thought. Eraser Pink. And then let's see. I got Pink Blossom, which is a little bit of pink. It's pink with a little bit of magenta added to it, looks like. So it's kind of a darker, cooler pink. So Pink Blossom by Huge Miniatures. Also a pretty neat little color there. And this is called Pink Blush. It's not really quite a skin tone. It's kind of a pink tan color that I've been looking for that color. I've tried making a color similar to this, but I saw this. I knew my search was over. So that's kind of a really useful color for like robes, robes and the like. Very it's a couple of shades closer from off-white, between off-white and tan, I guess you'd say. Pink Blush. So it's got a little pink in it, a little bit of tan, a little bit of white. So I've been looking for a color like that for a long time. So I'm looking forward to using that. And then Monument Hobbies had a deal where if you brought them a miniature that you painted with their paints, and I did, I took a miniature called the Crossbow Hover Tank, which is one of our Tech Commander models. I took it over to the booth, and they were giving away Wizard's Butt. So my co-worker got the green one for the work that he's done with their stuff on his models, and I got the red one. Now I asked if I could get a bottle of Gred Wizard's Butt, but they said I could only have green or red. They weren't going to make any Gred for me, so, which probably would have wound up being like brown, red and green. But so that's kind of a neat weird red color. So it's kind of a mystery color until you get down to using it. So that's going to go into my Monument Hobbies shelf. So what else did I pick up here? Now I've never picked up. Let's see. So I've never picked up the Adepticon Special Edition miniature before, but I went to the Victoria Miniatures booth and I picked up the 2025 um, special edition figure. So she's kind of like a Warhammer 40k Cadian. So these are not Cadians. So some weather alerts there. Don't worry about it. So they've got Victoria Lamb does sculpting. If you ever want to see some really amazing work, go dig out some of the old White Dwarfs where she's won Golden Demon Awards for her paint work. But yeah, so Victoria Lamb sculpts these and then they sell them, and this is this year's special edition figure. I also picked up from the Victoria Lamb booth. Let's see. I also picked up a couple of figures. So Captain Kane, I picked up Captain Kane. He is the he's a sci-fi version of Michael Caine's character in Zulu. So years ago there was an army for 40k called the Praetorian Guard, which was based on the the colonial era soldiers from Britain. So they discontinued those, but Victoria Miniatures has the not versions of those now. And this is another one. This is called Captain Laura Swift. So she is she would work well in the Talarn units I've got. So the Talarn Guard units. And then of course we have the Robe Guy. So this guy, if you haven't been you haven't, until you've seen Cliff Beaver in his robe, you haven't been to Adepticon. When you see Clint walking around in his robe and boonie cap, you know that you are at Adepticon. You have arrived when you see Clint walking around. And he's kind of a fixture. It was kind of funny the first time he did it, and then it just kind of became a thing. Right? And then I stopped by and talked to Andy Hobday and Paul Hicks, and they had this figure to give out this year. Last year I painted the elf that they had for their fantasy battles game, which is an expansion, the fantasy expansion for the Barons War. Barons War is actually set right around the time of the War of the Roses and the like, War of Successions during the what is that, the 13th century. So France and England duking it out as they did. So it's some kind of a battle pope. That's going to be funny. It's going to be fun to paint up. So looking forward to that one. Should paint up very nicely. Very simple. Not a lot of bits and bobs to it, but it's just like the elf that I painted up last year. If you go to my Instagram, you can see the elf warrior with bow. He's in a blue robe. So That's is by sculpted by Paul Hicks, and the rules were by Andy Hobday. So I got those, and of course, One Page Rules was right behind us, and they have these science fiction lizard men guys. So they were handing these out for free. So I picked up one of those because I can't turn down a free miniature, right? So science fiction. So here he's got an energy shield with a hex grid on it. Very fancy, very very hip and now, the way everybody does hex grids, on their video games for their energy shields. Kind of neat. And then More Than Dice podcast was handing out these mimics. So you got Nerd and Mizzy and John Gonzo. So basically represented there, all in that figure. Gonzo, Mizzy, and Nerd. Yeah, so check them out. They do a More Than Dice podcast. It's on every Sunday on Twitch, I think at 7:30. Also on Spotify if you can't catch the live stream. So anyhow, those were some of the things I got there. And also one more thing. Now, a lot of you might know who Adam Loper is, Uncle Adam to some of you. He has the channel on YouTube called Tabletop Minions. He has the Every Other Sunday show, as well as the 10-minute, little 10-minute talk that he gives every Friday. Now, last year, I happened to run into him at Adepticon, and he showed me this, and I was very quiet about it. I said nothing, and I kept wondering when it was going to come out. I said nothing. I knew it was coming. I felt quite privileged to actually have seen it before everybody else. But he was working with Battle Foam to produce a miniatures carrying case. So I picked up the miniatures carrying case, the Tabletop Minions branded miniatures carrying case, and it's just the right size for a skirmish level skirmish level game. So you can put a few figures in there, maybe a block of dice, some larger figures, smaller figures in the top there. Hard side, soft foam, hard side, ballistic nylon construction. Not a bad price. It was a little over $50, so it was comparable to their usual product, but it comes in this cool, nice red. It's got a little zipper pocket on the side, a little pouch there, maybe keep some measuring sticks. It's got some Velcro hook on the back where you could put your own patches and the like, as well as a zipper pocket behind that. So maybe slide a rule book in there or whatever. A little pouch in the front, as well as MOLLE straps. Although these don't seem like any MOLLE strap that I've ever seen. They look smaller. They almost look like they want to be MOLLE straps, but they're not really MOLLE straps. I guess I could get a couple of my old pouches out and try and see if those would fit. But, you could stick some dice in here, rule book, pony size rule book, candy bar, snacks, whatever. So yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. So this is the pack mini, and there you have it. That's my haul. The few minis that I got this year, some hobby supplies, and a miniature carrying case for when I play small games close to home, or a little bit further away from home, I guess. Which, as you all know, one of my favorite games right now is Tech Commander, partly because I have playtesting and development credits on it. So, been working on this guy for a little while. And Tech Commander is the most skirmishy of skirmish games, especially the deathmatch mode of play. So we're going to go ahead and maybe sling some paint on this dude tonight. Been working on him a little bit this week since I got home. So, anyhow, that's my haul from Adepticon. And we're going to go ahead and start painting sling a little paint tonight. Put a little paint on this dude here. So I think I'll put put his guns on him. Put his arms together here. So I'm just going to use some Pro Acryl Dark Turquoise from the Vince Venturella set. And yeah. Let's see. Get some of these little leftovers from the printing process off of here. So last night I was privileged to be on the Wargamer Girl show and talk about Sail Power. So go check out that show on YouTube if you want. Now the first little bit I did have some technical difficulties with the old camera and the like, but we got it worked out. We did. But check it out. It's a pretty neat little podcast there. She does a good job with her and her team. So go ahead and we'll put this dark jade on here. Thusly. Now this is slightly harder resin than what I usually work with from Sea Dog, so it doesn't have tooth on it. Unfortunately, it doesn't have a lot of tooth. Most of their resin pieces have some tooth on them, especially the Captain's Edition ships. But I may have to drop this into some simple green and strip it back down. I don't know. We'll see. So I need to change cameras here before too long. I think this camera is good. It's 4K, but for some reason it doesn't like to fill out the screen, the 1080 by whatever it is, whatever size it is. So I think I'm going to probably change cameras here before too long. I'd like to get a couple of cameras with HD outputs. I've got one. I thought I had two, but the other camera that I'm going to change out with only goes to USB. So So I do have one that goes to HD. Because then I could use an Atom deck. Atom, ATEM. Load all my info, all my cards on there, our cards and overlay and all that sort of thing. So that way I'm not dragging down memory out of my computer. So that'd be good. Then I could maybe play video games online and expand the audience. Maybe play some Star Trek Fleet Commander or something. Pretty neat little game. I tried it a while back. But just to let you know, folks, I think I may be doing a short stream tonight. I was up pretty late. Well, I went to bed pretty early last night as soon as we got done with with Miranda's stream there. So I went to bed right after that, you know, as you do. But I got woke up by tornado warnings. And so me and Pumpkin crawled under the house last night, and we stayed there for a couple hours while the storms blew over. So I may cut things a little short tonight. Just because I'm tired. I thought about canceling, but since I had canceled last week, or I didn't, you know, because I was on the road. I was at Adepticon, so when you go to Adepticon, there's really no point in streaming. Well, if I had the appropriate tech, I could probably stream from Adepticon. I would like to do that, but I did not. I just didn't have the infrastructure to hand in order to do so. But yeah, I really didn't buy much in the way of toys. Mostly just supplies and memories. Seeing people that I know, people that I like to watch them online, but it's always nice to see people face to face and see how they're doing. Hear how their year is gone. See what they're working on, what they're into. See how life is treating them. Even if you know. So So I'm going to go probably till, 9 o'clock or so. Pretty tired. So I'm not going to do too late tonight. Like I said, didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Tornado warnings will do that to you. We had two warnings in the course of about 3 hours. So last night was a rough one. Then I had to go and do a service call this afternoon. Had to get kind of taken away from my scheduled project that I had going on today, this afternoon. But the gentleman was saying that his light fixtures were shocking him. So I got that fixed. So there's that. And let's see, we'll go ahead and give these weapons an undercoat. Go with blue-black. What do you say? Monument Hobbies Blue Black. Whoop. Let me just drop it out of my hands, because that's always a good idea. So chat's a little quiet. I don't see anybody in chat, either on the YouTube or the Rumble or the Twitch here. That's okay. Blue black. Let's add a little more black to that. Let's add some coal black to that blue black. Let's mix that up and see what happens. Get a nice undercoat here. Just sitting here painting, chilling. Don't know if I've got any really interesting stories to tell today. But we'll see. We'll see what I come up with in the next few weeks, if I've got some interesting things to talk about on my as far as produced videos go. So I'm just using a little ball of blue tack, green tack. I want to say blue tack, but I was thinking green stuff at the same time. So I just put a little ball of that, just stick that dowel in there. Just to hold it. Send the stuff out to. I've got some video to send out to some people that I shot for some videos for them, so hopefully we'll see if that's any good. I'll have to watch it over again, but make sure the quality is decent. But we got a bit of flooding here. Not directly, but water's definitely coming up. Tornadoes last night and flooding tonight. Rain on top of the rain that we had. This storm system just doesn't seem to want to go away, you know. But hopefully you are warm and or cool, depending on what you what you need to be comfortable. Hopefully you're comfortable where you are and safe, sound. Needs. Hopefully your needs are met. So I came home from work today and there was a big box from Chewy. Chewy pet products was on my front porch. Actually, two big boxes. I thought Pumpkin might have got a hold of the old credit card and ordered some stuff up, but no, he has not. He's not developed that level of cognizance, fortunately. Nor does he have opposable thumbs. So, but I caught a hold of the Chewy company and I called them and I said, "Hey, this is here and it's the wrong address. How'd that happen?" So, figure somebody was probably missed the right digit, you know, probably one digit off. saw the name on it, but I'm not sure who that person might be in my neighborhood. I thought for a minute, well, maybe somebody's playing a prank on me and they sent me a whole bunch of toys for Pumpkin. That would have been hilarious. But that was not the case. Tired. Tired. I tell you what, folks. Tomorrow's Friday. But it's not really the end of the week. I've got some more work to do on Saturday. So since I got back Tuesday, my week is a day shorter, sort of. So I asked my boss if I could make up that one. I got another project out of town. Not significantly, but that was something that they wanted finished this week. So I said, hey, Saturday is still this week, and it's going to get me close to my 40 hours if I take care of that on Saturday. I've got these other projects going on. So he was kind to me and he allowed me to schedule it like that. So, but today I did not get my full time in. Seeing as how I spent half the night under the house, I did not sleep well. So I wound up going in a little bit later than I wanted to today. But that happens. Natural disasters and the like. I mean, it could have been a tornado. There was one that hit, I want to say Monday or Sunday night. Up by Dayton, I think. So, I know a couple of irregulars on Uncle Adam's channel. I think were affected by it. Old Adam Loper's channel there. So hopefully the worst of it's over with. They really got thrown for a loop over there in what's that, Oklahoma. So that was a rough one. Hopefully, if anybody out there is watching, and you're in Oklahoma, hopefully you're safe. Had to get rid of a couple little boogers left behind from the supports. Cleanup on 3D prints are considerably easier than a cleanup on plastic. Plastic kit. There's no mold lines to go over, and the supports snap off pretty cleanly usually. But sometimes there's a little booger here and there to clean up. So I'm using a little bit of the blue black and black blue. So from Monument Hobbies, it is this color here, blue black, right there, blue black and coal black mixed together. So I get this kind of really dark charcoal gray, very dark. Which that's a nice thing about Monument Hobbies paints. I think they are designed more than any other brand to be mixed together to get your results, rather than being kind of shackled to 6 different colors in one family and triads and the like, which I don't have any problems painting like that either. But for one-offs, I do like to mix little colors here and there. So and if you think that I'm not painting with primer, you would be correct. This resin happens to like paint very much. So I'm not too concerned about priming it. So I'm going to set that aside and let that dry. So I'll set that right there. Set that one right there. I'm going to go ahead and paint these mechanisms in gray black here, this little color that I kind of mixed up here. I was hoping that the weather was getting better so that I could spend some time and prime some things, but it is not the case. Unfortunately. Let's see, coal black, huh? So we'll go ahead and use the coal black a little bit here and let that gray black and coal black all kind of mingle. Didn't realize I wasn't under my camera for a moment there. Paint this grate on the back here. A little grate here. Now, in reality, it would probably be painted the same color as the rest of the ride, but this gives you something you can look at while you're playing the game. I got out of frame again, folks. I'm sorry about that. If I had a better setup here, I could do better. So if you want me to do better, don't complain about it. Consider a subscription today, or use my code ROKKITFUEL. That's Rocket Fuel at dubby.com or dubby.gg for 10% off your order of a no jitter high energy drink. That's dubby.gg. Use my code ROKKITFUEL Rocket Fuel for your discount. But I do need a better computer, and you can help. I need better everything to do this. So if you become a subscriber on YouTube, you become a part of the monthly Monster Club, which I am one month behind now because of the shenanigans here in March. So I'll be catching up with that because of I have two Remoras. I have a young Remora and a regular and an aged Remora. So once I get to that probably will be next week that we'll start on that. I'll probably do both of them at the same time. And we'll do 2 monthly monster drawings this month because I missed last month's. So I'm just going to touch up a little bit where I missed here. Get a little blend going on there. Again, I missed a spot because I was stuck to the blue tack there. This ride is called the Linebacker. It's the biggest ride one of the biggest rides in the game. That game being Tech Commander. If you like Battletech, if you enjoyed Alpha Strike, I think you would really love Tech Commander. But that's just one man's opinion. But that's just one man's opinion. Definitely, if you get a chance to ever play with us at a convention, don't turn it down. Perfect. All right. I'm going to let that dry up. And then we'll finish painting the guns. So I've got them only painted halfway right now. But it's 8:30. I'm sorry it's going to be a early one for me tonight, folks. I'm just not feeling up to going much longer. I was going to try to go till at least 9, but I'm wiped out. Finished up the day getting rained on, so I think I'm going to turn in early. So just last night was awful, what with all the tornadoes and everything. Hiding under the house with the cat. Yeah, he wasn't too fond of that. I put him in the carrier. He hates being in his carrier. But I'm not going to take him outside not in his carrier. So I've got my go bag and the carrier right there next to the door to throw him in. But yeah, we'll finish this up later on. But definitely tune in next week where we'll start getting caught up on our monthly monsters here on Twitch. And if you are watching here on YouTube, why don't you go ahead and wrestle the thumb. Give us a like. Share the stream if you want. Same thing over at Rumble. Do all the things. And I'm gonna turn in. But before I do that, always remember, folks, no matter how bad today was, the sun is coming up tomorrow, and the world is a better place with you in it. So I am going to say goodnight to YouTube.